Hey, did you hear that story about a man who left his wife at the airport because she took too long at the Starbucks?
No.
Damn. It's a old "Am I the asshole" post. I don't know if you've heard about those before, but it's this thing on Reddit.
Uh-huh.
And he was explaining how his wife is very nonchalant, go with the flow kind of person. And he told his wife that we have to go to the terminal about 15 minutes until our plane is ready to board.
Yeah.
And at that point, she wanted to get a coffee. So she went to the Starbucks in the airport.
Yeah.
She took too long, so he left without her, and then she missed her flight completely.
That's crazy.
But the question is he the asshole for doing that?
I have to say no. No.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knew good and well, like, hey, we have to be at the gate in 15 minutes to board.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, let me get Starbucks. Like, could you not wait until there was like drink service on the flight
Mm-hmm.
to
What
get
I
a
always
drink?
do, what I always do is you go through security, you go through bag check and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and you see where your gate is. And then
Then you
once you
go.
know, yes, there we go. You physically see it, and then you say, okay, the closest coffee is right there, so I'm going to
Hmm.
walk right there. Because the last thing you want to do is end up in this situation.
Yeah. And
So so
go
let's
go astray.
exactly. But it makes me curious. What other kind of "Am I the asshole" stories do we have for vacation focused events?
Yeah. We have
Welcome
quite
everyone. Welcome everyone to the TJH podcast.
yeah. We
I'm
have
updating. We have quite a few, yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
I was going to say we're updating the name. It's not going to be the Jungle Hour. It's just going to be TJH.
Yeah.
Mhm. But today we got a few stories that Lynn has acquired. We had a pretty long list actually. There's a few different ones. I think the worry was vacation stories that are too similar. Was that what you're trying to avoid doing?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Some of them just like sounded the same. Like it was the same exact situation. It was like I don't want to go on vacation with my wife or my kids. I need a break. I'm like, "Come on." And I feel like when I was like searching for stories, they all had like the same premise. So that was really annoying. But
Hmm.
I think we found some good ones.
I agree. Yeah, I did a quick read of the titles. I didn't read them in depth. I left that
Yeah.
to Lynn. But like always, we chose the best four for the episode, and we're gonna go through each of them and see, are they the asshole in fact, or are they justified for what they did?
Mhm.
Lynn, what is the first one we're going to be talking about?
Okay. So the first one I have here is, am I the asshole for not letting my partner fake propose to me while on vacation?
That's a okay. Well, just from that title, my first thought was, did they want to do that just to get like a better dinner or a free
Yeah.
dessert, like that kind of thing?
Yeah.
But if it's a post, I there's got to be more to this than just I didn't want to get free dessert because I don't like the attention.
Yeah. All right. Let me go into it because I think this one might surprise you. All
Okay.
right. This person says, my female 28 partner, male 30, and I went on vacation last week for our 2-year anniversary and just got back 2 days ago. It was a fantastic, amazing, and romantic vacation, all up to the point where my partner suggested we go ask a stranger to take a picture of us in a fake proposal in front of the Eiffel Tower. When he
Oh.
yeah. When he asked this, my heart started beating so fast, I immediately assumed he was saying fake proposal as a ruse for a real proposal, which is not something we have talked about yet. I think I just said, wait, what do you mean? And he said that proposal pictures in this spot were really popular and that we should take the opportunity while we can. I said that I wasn't really interested in a fake proposal picture and that I thought it was weird that he would suggest that. We moved on pretty quickly and went to dinner. When we got back to our hotel, that evening, I asked him about it since I'd been on my mind and I could tell that I had really upset him. I asked him explicitly, "Were you planning on actually proposing to me and I ruined it?" And he said no. He doesn't think that we're ready for that step, and for the record, I agree. Our relationship was long distance for the first 8 months, and I'm planning on moving in with him when my lease is up in January. He said that he always thought the proposal picture in front of the Eiffel Tower was really romantic and that he's worried whenever he actually does propose, it won't be as romantic as Paris, so he wanted to get the picture while we could. Interesting.
Uh, yeah, that just seems like a weird thing. Because then, what if things didn't go well? But then also, wouldn't it be weird to have an old photo of you guys if, let's say, they actually got married in 2 years and he like
Yeah.
changed his facial hair or she changed her haircut?
And how is he gonna find like a fake ring?
Yeah, that as well.
Like, was he just like planning on like, will you marry me? Like, will you
Hmm.
marry me? Nothing in the hands. That's kind of weird. I apologized but told him that I was only interested in actual proposal pictures and that I would love them whenever slash wherever it happened. He has been pretty crestfallen since this conversation and I really feel like I genuinely ruined something for him. I called some friends when we got home and got mixed advice, some agreeing that it was a really odd request and some saying that I should have just taken the fake proposal photo, which would have been no harm done. Am I the asshole for not taking the photo with him?
I want to say no because if both of you agree it's not the time, why would
Yeah.
you make a big scene where everyone's going to notice and then suddenly you have all this attention on you?
Mhm. And then they're gonna be like, "Can we see the ring?" And you're
Yeah,
like,
exactly. It's going to be
"Hey,
really
there's
awkward.
nothing here."
Yeah, it was actually a whole ruse.
Just kidding. See, I feel like maybe this is because you and I have both worked at Disney,
Yeah.
but people come in with like, "I'm celebrating buttons." And
Hmm.
things like that. And I feel like if you work in the hospitality industry, like you normally ask like, "What are you celebrating?" Like I went to Outback and they're like, "What are you celebrating?" Like
Yeah.
nothing. I'm just going out to dinner, but
I
like
just
you could
want
always
Outback. That's all I
yeah,
want.
exactly. But you could always say like, "Oh, I'm celebrating like a birthday or like an engagement or maybe like an anniversary," and they'll try and do something for you. So I
And that's
feel like
good.
if maybe they happen to do that like way of it, like at Disney, like if we see someone with like I'm celebrating buttons, like we try and make a little magic if we can, depending on our role and location. I
Hmm.
feel like this is like what possibly like he was wanting to do in a way, but more like serious. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe they went out to dinner and he was like, "Oh, we're celebrating our 2-year anniversary," which they are, and they got a free dessert. Cool. But I feel like proposing, just like fake proposing, that's kind of crazy.
It's a little much. When I see the anniversary buttons, I'm like, there's a chance these two people just got a button and said this is their anniversary because they want to
Yeah.
see how many times quick service will give them an extra treat or a free drink or whatever. And like, I'll be honest, I did that once or twice. I was like, "Oh yeah, it's our anniversary.
Yeah.
We dated 5 years ago, and this was our first date spot." And then they're like,
Oh
"Oh,
my
here's a free
God.
dessert." I'm just like, "Let's go."
Let's go.
But yeah, this is not the place. This is not the time or the place for that kind of thing. Because as well, if it's your early dating and you went to
Yeah.
Paris, shouldn't it just be this is the first time we went to Paris as a couple?
Right.
Like making it a proposal thing suddenly blows it out of proportion.
Yeah, and I like understand travel's expensive. Like Paris is not cheap. Flights are
Mm-mm.
not cheap to Paris. Like I understand like wanting to take possibly advantage of the location and maybe they don't know if they'll be going back. But I think it says a lot about the fact like they haven't talked about engagement at all quite yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like they haven't even like moved in together. Like taking that photo just kind of feels wrong.
Yeah, it'd make
Like
everything else feel really rushed, I feel.
yeah.
It it also kind of just reminded me of did you ever see at Disneyland Paris the cast member that interrupted a proposal?
Yeah, because it was on the stage.
Hmm. But apparently they did get permission to do that.
That's crazy.
I found the article. Hold on.
I think I vaguely remember that, like that they were given permission.
Yeah, because like you can see this isn't a guest space. This is some
Yeah.
stage with sound system, whatever. And there it looks like they're looking at someone, so there must be a cast member or a friend who's taking photos for them. And
Mhm.
right as he does this, hold on. Like the face on the cast member, I'm sorry, that's what annoys me as well because it's like, buddy, you could have waited 2
Yeah.
minutes. Like give
Yeah.
him a second.
And I feel like I'm not sure how the international parks are, but I know here, like, if there was something like that, they would have at least entertainment coordinators or like event staff, at least keeping an eye on what's going on and
Mhm.
coordinating that. So that has me wondering, like, is that the same for Paris? Like, do they have like an event coordinator or something, like, at least in the area to kind of oversee it?
Mhm. But I feel like no matter what, Disney always has people looking at the bigger picture stuff.
Yeah.
And even still, like in that situation, they clearly walked on stage. They waited for someone to like get a camera out or something. They made sure it was
Yeah.
fine. Then he got on a knee, and then that's when a cast member shows up.
That's crazy.
Like either a cast member should have been there right when they stepped foot on stage, or waited till it was done because they were too late.
Yeah.
I had I worked at the I definitely talked about where I've worked. What's the name of it? Aloha Isle.
Mhm.
So right next to the exit of Tiki Room,
Mhm.
and it's this weird like curved ramp that goes down, but then there's a wall that gradually gets taller because it starts at a low point where people are. And I've seen kids like begin to walk on it and start moving, and I make sure to very quickly be like, hey guys, get down for the love of God.
Yeah.
Because in that situation, I'm like, someone's breaking
Gonna
an
get hurt.
arm. Yeah, someone's gonna get hurt, and there's gonna be crying, and there's gonna be What is it? EMT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to have that happening when I'm right there. So I'm just like, please
Get
don't hurt
down.
yourself. Get down, Mr. President.
Oh my god.
So yeah, for the fake proposal thing, not the asshole, I would say.
Yeah.
And
Like,
what's like,
that's a weird request of him, so definitely not the asshole.
was there any like big comments that you noticed?
I actually did not look. Let's see. The first person said, "Not the asshole, it is weird." Also tone deaf on his part. Like, what are you planning on doing with the photos? Anyone seeing them online would instantly think that it was genuine before reading any accompanying text that explains it's fake, which is just a dickish move in itself. The
Yep.
only way it would make sense if he was actually planning on proposing and is too proud to now admit it. But you don't spring a fake proposal idea for that. You just ask a stranger to take a few photos and they'll quickly realize what's happening. Fake proposals aren't romantic even in front of the Eiffel Tower. And if he's bummed because he genuinely wanted to do a fake proposal for shits and giggles, you said no, then boo-hoo, he's an adult, tell him to get over it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that summarizes the whole thing too.
exactly. And that was like the most upvoted comment. And then the first reply underneath it says, yeah, kind of a red flag for this relationship.
hmm If, like we said for Disney, if
Yeah,
he and her were at Disney and he said, "Hey, do you want to get anniversary buttons?" or well, yeah, because if you said just proposed or like newlywed, I think that's a little too much. If you say anniversary, it's kind of just like, "Oh my God, we've been dating longer than we actually have," so then we'll get free snacks.
yeah. I feel though, like at Disney, if someone came in with like just proposed or just married, like I don't know, I feel like I would be more inclined to give them something than someone who's like celebrating like 2 years. I'd
But
be
that
like,
kind
oh,
of
you're just
but
married.
that might get you too much attention, like
Yeah,
newlywed or like that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, I agree. When I worked, I literally was like, "Oh, I'm not charging you a thing." Like,
yeah,
because typically where I worked, it was like small snack. So I'm like, "You guys are just married. You guys are spending money on the wedding. I'm not going to make you spend six extra bucks.
yeah.
Don't worry." I I've definitely had though like 5 year anniversary, 4 year anniversary. I'm just like, okay, I'll get you a Dole
All
Whip.
right. Yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
here you go.
Yeah. All right. That was a good one though.
Yeah.
Does I was gonna say, does Universal have buttons?
They do. I got like a birthday button. Their buttons look different. I don't think they have like I know they have like a birthday and celebrating, but I don't think they have like an anniversary one or anything.
Um. Well, I can't tell if this is legit or not. I mean, there's one button that I can tell is definitely like from their website.
Let me see.
Like this, I can't tell. It looks fake
Those
almost.
are older. The
Mm-hmm.
newer ones, it's the purple ones.
Okay. That's
Because
kind
I
of
got one
nice.
of those for my birthday. Or
Yeah.
the yellow one for my birthday underneath it.
You want this one, don't you?
What? Oh, yeah, Minion. I love
Mm-hmm.
Minions. I'm gonna lie and say it's my first visit,
Every
so I
single
can get
time.
one. Yeah.
It'd be funny if they had a bunch of these and it was just different minions, and then you definitely would have people that are like, I'm collecting them.
I want Kevin. That's my favorite Minion.
Which one?
Kevin.
I don't know the minions. Sorry. Anywho, what's the second story you got for us?
Okay. So the second one I have here is am I the asshole? Speaking of Universal, am I the asshole for telling my female 26 boyfriend, male 28, that we can't see his friend on vacation?
Is this
I,
universal focus? Because you just said speaking of.
yeah, Universal's
Oh.
mentioned. Epic Universe, actually.
Oh, so this is a very recent post then.
Yeah, this is 25 days ago.
Okay. I'll say I don't ever see it as appropriate to go on a vacation and then be like, "Hey, can I take time out of our joint trip to see someone that I know that you don't?"
Yeah. I feel like if it's a mutual friend, maybe, as long as there's like enough
Maybe.
time in the itinerary. Like, one thing that kind of like annoys me
Mhm.
is I still keep in touch with like a lot of my like old friends and coworkers from when I used to like visit Disney. And when I'm over there for the weekend, like I already have plans. Like
Mhm.
I have things going on, but they want me to like visit. But it's not like I can just drive my car up to the security booth and be like, "Hey, I'm
Yeah.
here to visit some old coworkers." They're gonna be like,
Mhm.
"What?" And then it's a pain in the ass to go to Disney Springs and then take a bus to the resort and then take a bus back to Disney Springs to get back to my resort.
Yeah, all
Like,
just to say hi is a little much.
yeah,
If
it's a
it's
little
if
much.
if it's things like I know my friend works at Epcot and I go to Epcot the day they work, I will make
Yeah.
sure to make a point of like, what booth are you working at? And I'll try to swing by it at a reasonable time. And if
Yeah.
there's a lineup, I'll just go to the side to say hi, and they'll
Mhm.
know that I'm busy, and they'll know that I know they're busy. So no
Yeah.
harm, no foul. But yeah, that kind of stuff where it's just like, come visit me just for the weekend is just no.
It's weird. I went to go visit some of my old friends because I was staying at All Star Movies and they work at All Star Sports, but it
Hmm.
was like busy, so it was just a quick like, "Hey,
Yeah,
like let's get a selfie real quick," and then I left. Like I feel like it's so awkward too, like visiting someone while they're working because it's like I don't want to get them in trouble with like their court or like
yeah,
their leadership, so it's like, "Hey," but
yeah. Because you never know what the
yeah.
court is like. I've had coordinators that are like the most relaxed person as long as you're doing your work.
Yeah.
But I've had some that like give you death stares, and the second your friend walks away, they grill you.
Yeah, they're like, "Who was that?" It was like, "It was a
Yeah.
guest." "Why do you hug the guest?" Me and this guest are kind of friends."
Why are you friends with a
Like,
guest? You should only be an employee.
yeah, you're just a number.
Hmm. Okay, so what is? Give us the story because this
Okay.
one I'm interested in if it's
Yeah,
epic focused.
this one has a little bit of background to it. So,
Okay.
background, my boyfriend and I have been wanting to go to Universal after we heard about the new theme park, which is Epic Universe. My birthday is coming up, and I said, "Why don't we plan something for September when it's a little cheaper, and that would be your present?" I said that would be great and I would even help him pay because he's never been and I still know it's going to be expensive, but I wasn't expecting for him to pay the whole thing. Now, I
Ooh.
never ask for anything. I never expect much, but this is supposed to be a birthday trip for me. Started crunching numbers right away and I was excited about the trip. I told
Mhm.
him an estimate on what to expect while we're there. I said, let's just stay on the ground so we don't have to rent a car since the hotel offers shuttles to the park. Smart girl. Well, he had another thing in mind. He started to tell me a day after I started to crunch numbers and came up with one that he wanted to see his friend that I've heard him talk about all of one time and he wait, what? That makes no sense. I've heard him talk about his friend all of one time and he never talks to him. Hasn't seen him in years, but now he's talking about renting a car.
Oh, I
I'm
think
like,
she's saying he's mentioned her in passing. He's mentioned this friend once,
oh, okay. That
and
makes
then
sense.
she's never heard about him again. So she's confused. Why are you so desperate to hang out with him?
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, no, if he wants to see you, he can meet us at the hotel, hang out by the pool, or he can meet us at the park. He gets cheaper prices because he lives there. Like, I have no problem with you seeing him, but I'm not going around Orlando, an area I don't know for someone I've never met or that you don't even talk about. Oh my God, I have so much to say, but I gotta keep going.
It'd be funny if this is two former DCP people or ICP people, and
Yeah,
they have one
meeting
friend
up.
from Florida when they did the program, and they're like, "I want to see them."
Let's go see them. He started talking about how when we went to go see my friend in Virginia, but that was to the plan to start with since her mom died. Like that's what the trip was for. He was just throwing in ites, whatever. Like I never ask for anything and you have to act like this because I tell you no or have you meet him on the grounds? I don't know. Am I the asshole? That is crazy.
Uh,
I will say the part that really, really pissed me off is when she was like, okay, well, he lives in Orlando. Like,
hmm.
he can come meet us.
Yeah,
That is like one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, I live in Tampa and like no one really comes to Tampa. Everyone's going to Orlando.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like they want me to go over there and see them. And like, it's a 2 hour drive with traffic depending on
Yeah.
the day. So I don't know, I feel like if you're already there and if the boyfriend's paying and he's like wanting to rent a car, there's more to do than just the parks. Like maybe they want to go
Hmm.
to Disney Springs. Like if you're staying at Universal, there's no Universal bus to Disney Springs. So like
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm more inclined to be like on the boyfriend's side of this. And it's like, yeah, the friend may live in Orlando, but it's like, don't make him do all the work. Like, if you want to see him that bad, then your boyfriend should make the effort to like
Well,
do
okay,
it. Like I understand.
renting a car
Sorry.
seems like a lot to begin with. I'll say that for a
Yeah.
vacation,
Yeah.
and then what part of Florida does this guy live in? Because if it's not Orlando, that's one thing. If it was like Miami, then it's kind of like, oh, you guys have a long, long distance between that and Orlando.
Exactly. He says or OP says that
Hmm.
her boyfriend's friend lives in Orlando.
Oh shit, I missed that. Oops.
Yeah. So
Okay, well I agree then. They could meet at Springs. I don't know
City
why I was.
Walk.
I would say she's right for saying no for renting a car because it should just be like if you're on vacation, don't make things more stressful. But I would say she's in the wrong for being flat out saying no. I feel like that's a little much.
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
I definitely agree on that. So I'm like still kind of like half and half on how I feel, but let me read both of the updates and maybe that will sway us a little bit.
Ooh, okay.
Update 1. This guy has a car. My boyfriend is used to wanting it to impress people, hence why he wants to go out and rent a car and go to some fancy restaurant.
Oh,
He wants me there so he can show me off like he usually wants.
oh,
I told him the guy can meet us, especially if the guy has a car. I only told him I don't feel comfortable going off property. This was his idea to spend 4 days at the park and then we go home. This whole friend thing was random and he spoke to the guy before he spoke to me about it. That's what mostly bothered me.
oh.
All right. With this update, I have to get to update number 2, but with this update, I'm leaning towards not the asshole.
I want to say not the asshole too because yeah, if he has a tendency to show you off, do you want that again? No. So you want to avoid doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, why did he already speak to the guy? I feel like if this is your girlfriend's birthday trip and you're wanting to make it like special, you should at least ask like, "Hey, like I know we're celebrating for your birthday, but is it okay if like we have so and so meet up with us at like City Walk or can we like meet up with him and like grab lunch?" Like at least ask her before asking him. That's kind of
Yep.
strange.
Yep. I agree.
Update number 2. I took advice from the one saying I was in the wrong. Oh, I took a look at it, I thought it over, and I spoke to him. I told him we can do something with his friend the first day that we get there, since the guy only really wants a day with us. I told him if he wants to pick us up and we go somewhere or even do something at City Walk, that's fine. We worked it out and everything is better now. Thank you all for helping me open my eyes.
Well, see,
I'm
there
like,
we go. That's the middle ground we wanted.
yeah, I'm like shocked. Why were people saying OP's the asshole?
Yeah. Where did all that come from?
Oh, I like this comment. Oh, good. You're one day into planning a trip that's 5 months away and already arguing. That's crazy.
Damn. Okay. Is there anything else?
Let me scroll down. Someone was asking for more info and said, how long is the vacation relative to how long he proposed spending time with his friend? If your friend, I cannot talk today. Sorry, guys. If your trip is for a few days and he wants to take up a whole day with his friend, I can see that that wouldn't be fair. But if you're there for a week or two and he's just planning to visit him for a few hours, I don't see what the issue is. And then OP responded and said he wants me to be with him when he meets up with his friend, and that's why I said he can meet us at the hotel or the park. I wasn't comfortable going out with a random guy. Okay,
Valid.
that's okay, valid, but also like maybe this is me being the asshole, but it's like it's not some random guy, it's like your boyfriend's friend. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you
if
don't
you
know him,
exactly you don't know him, that's the issue.
but I'm pretty sure they're not gonna go anywhere sus.
Well, if you think about it, when you start dating someone, they were a stranger to you for a
Yeah,
while, and then suddenly they were the person you always wanted to hang out with.
yeah,
So sure, there's some level of comfort seeing their friends with him, but it's still I think it's just like biologically, it's that kind of
yeah,
like nervous instinct of I'm in an area I'm not familiar with. So you start to get worried. And if you're just not a big social person, that gets worse for you.
yeah, that's true.
Interesting. Okay.
Someone said, you're changing your story. You've gone from, I have no problem with you seeing him, but I'm not going around Orlando, an area I don't know for someone I've never met or that you don't even talk about. And then two, suggesting that it's a money thing. Not to mention, I'm over here trying to tell him our cheapest options and he's trying to rent a car.
Okay,
To
but it's
distract.
both but it's both then, in my opinion.
Yeah,
She has two reasons she doesn't want to do it. It's going somewhere she hasn't talked about before and she doesn't want to spend money on a car. And I agree with the car thing because again, it's
yeah,
like if you were nervous about cost, you don't want to now spend more money.
yeah. That makes sense.
Sorry, what's the to distrust?
Oh yeah, to distrust. He also started making plans with this guy before even speaking to me. I just don't trust it, to be honest. He never talks about this guy or speaks to him. And then the OP of this comment says, neither of you are handling this particularly well. He shouldn't be expecting you to follow him wherever he goes, and you seem intent upon blocking any meetups that aren't on your own terms while multiple options are available, such as Uber Lyft, taxi to a meeting spot, one-day car rental via Turo. I've also the distinct impression that you haven't communicated your distrust to him. Everyone sucks here, and this doesn't bode well for the future.
Okay, damn. All
Yeah, that
right.
one's kind of right.
I think now that there's middle ground though, I don't want to
Yeah.
say she's the asshole.
Like, I think they just need to discuss it. Like,
Yeah.
she did not communicate it to him. So I feel like they reached that conclusion now. Like, that looks good. But
Mhm.
I don't
They
understand, like, why people are saying she's the asshole.
no. I can see why people were upset, but I don't think
Yeah.
she's fully to blame.
Yeah. Like, I think some of her reasonings are stupid, in my opinion. But it's like, I don't understand how that would make her the asshole. Like, that's her opinion. Like, that's how she feels about the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to meet up, I think you have to agree.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy to go out and change our plan for the vacation. Because another thing is, if you're going to something like Epic, you only have so many days.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to Disney, you only have so many days, and you kind of want to make it worth your time.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Whatever. I still think not the asshole, but if the majority says asshole, guess I'm wrong.
Yeah. That one like shocked me to be honest. What was the final rating? Yeah, final rating this person got was asshole. That was kind
Stupid.
of crazy. But this next one, um, I don't know. It's the title sounds crazy,
Okay.
but we'll have to get into it. So this title here, Am I the Asshole for Abandoning My Daughter on Vacation? What's your like first impression?
My first impression is put more context because that's not enough.
Yeah,
Are they an adult? Did they do something to be disrespectful that was like unnecessary? Did they
yeah,
ditch you first? Like what?
yeah.
Okay,
What's going on?
I,
All right.
I we got to get it straight into it, I guess.
Okay. So my wife and I have always dreamed of celebrating our 40th anniversary with a luxurious vacation. Just the two of us reliving the romance of our early years. We had it planned out for years and we're now excited beyond words. Enter our adult daughter Jane. Jane and her husband got wind of our plans and promptly invited themselves and their two children, 9 female, 5 male, along.
Oh,
I
I
originally
already I already hate Jane.
Yeah, me too. I originally put my foot down and told them that this trip was just for us, which upset her some. But my wife has a hard time saying no to Jane as she is the youngest of her children and our only daughter. She didn't want to
Oh,
hurt her feelings, so she reluctantly agreed to let them join. I feel like the asshole is the wife here. And Jane.
oh,
Both.
oh. Um, I wouldn't say the mom or the wife is an asshole. I think she's not strict enough. I think she's too lenient because it's a
Yeah.
daughter. So it's that mother daughter relationship she's holding on to.
Yeah. I wasn't thrilled about it at the time, but I wanted to make my family happy, and I knew my wife was also okay with the idea of a family trip, even though she was heartbroken we wouldn't get our romantic trip. We went along with it. The place we were originally going to was not child friendly, so we changed course and decided on an all inclusive, family friendly resort. We paid for the resort and our own grandchild's plane tickets. Jane and her husband only had to pay for their own airfare. Here's where things get complicated. As the vacation got closer, I started having a change of heart. I realized that our 40th anniversary was once in a lifetime milestone, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to honor it in a way that was true to our original plans. My wife and I may not afford to do a trip like this again for quite some time, and it's always something we've wanted to do. So, without consulting anyone, I switched our tickets last minute to go to the romantic destination that my wife and I had originally planned for. I did not tell Jane or her husband. I didn't even tell my wife until the day before our flight left, which was a day before Jane's flight left for their vacation. It wasn't an easy decision and I feel guilty about it, but I wanted our 40th anniversary to be this special, intimate celebration we had always hoped for. We called Jane after we landed to tell her that she was extremely upset to say the least. She seemed of the idea that we were going to look after our grandkids so she and her husband could have alone time. And now that I abandoned her, they would have to do it all themselves. I hung up on them when my son-in-law started shouting and my wife and I enjoyed the rest of our trip. They came
Smart.
back Yeah, exactly. They came back the same day we did, but not have answered any of our texts, and James seems to be ignoring me. My wife told me she vastly preferred our trip to the family trip we would have taken, but she doesn't like how Jane is mad at us and wants me to apologize. I'm not sure I want it after learning Jane and her husband were asking us for free babysitting and a free trip, but I feel like I should just keep the peace. Am I the asshole for changing our trip destination last minute and leaving Jane and her family to fend for themselves?
Nope. Fuck Jane. She
No,
seems ridiculous.
exactly, not the asshole. And I don't understand why OP's like, oh, fend for themselves, because he literally paid for the grandchildren's airfare,
Yeah.
and Jane and her husband paid for their portion of the resort and their airfare too. So they clearly weren't going to be like left stranded.
No. So yeah, the son-in-law and Jane clearly had enough money to buy the trip because they spent all that money. And then they've got free tickets from their parents, obviously.
Yeah,
This, I'll say, the dumbest thing is the son-in-law shouting over the phone
that's
to,
insane.
like, are you trying to have a bad relationship with your partner's parents? Like, that's such
Yeah.
a that's such a bad thing to do. I feel.
And I feel like if they change it to a family-friendly location, like we're not sure if this is maybe like a child-centric resort or things like that, but I feel like resorts like have like a daycare or something.
Hmm.
Like if the parents really wanted to like, oh, hey, like we're gonna go out.
Hmm. Well, so for example, like let's say they were going to uh, beaches, the all-inclusive resort for families, and then last minute the OP switched to sandals. Well, I'll have to agree with him because if you went to an all-inclusive family resort, you're going to have to deal with other children and
Yeah,
other parents and all these other variables, like even teenagers, for example. And if you focused on the adult side where you were at Sandals, you only have to deal with people your age or people above 18. And at least you'll know they're going to be smarter than other people are.
exactly. And that's why I keep like seeing on like TikTok, like I keep getting like these ads for Virgin cruises,
Hmm.
and it's like adults only.
Is Virgin Cruises only adults only, or do they promote some trips that are adults only?
I think it's only 18 plus for all.
Is Virgin. Oh, Voyages adults only. Why is AI overview not working? I also feel so lazy. I've been so used to getting this little AI prompt.
Yeah.
Virgin Voyages offers strictly adult only cruises. That's not bad. I, I still just, this
Not the
person,
asshole.
not the asshole. Like, there's no way this person's the asshole.
Yeah.
I feel like they did everything right. Sure, they were a little sneaky, but at the same time, he stood his ground so long, and then he realized, he came to his senses and said, nope, this is going to be a terrible idea if we all go together.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Let me read some of the comments because this guy did get the not the asshole rating.
Okay.
But the first one says here, not the asshole. What part of 40th anniversary trip did your daughter and son-in-law not understand?
Hmm.
Oh, boo freaking who. They wanted to spend time alone and designated the grandparents to babysit on what they should have been on their special trip.
Yep.
If your daughter and son-in-law wanted time alone on a trip, they could have gone on a different trip and politely asked you and your wife to watch the kids while they were away, not try and hijack your trip. Do not feel guilty, OP, not even for a second. You and your wife have done the parenting of your kids, and it's time to start enjoying life as a couple again. Sure, you're parents and grandparents, but you're still a couple and deserve to enjoy falling in love with each other all over again with romantic trips that do not include your offspring or grandkids. Your daughter needs a swift kick of reality right in the tuchus. She had the audacity to invite her family to your romantic weekend with the express purpose of securing babysitters, so she could enjoy herself without any thought for her parents. The entitlement is mind-boggling.
It actually, now that I think about it, this feels like like almost the plot for an early 2000s. Um,
Rom-com.
yes, where it's like Mike wants to celebrate his 30th anniversary with his wife Jeanette, but then his daughter Jane is so adamant to join the trip, and then their son-in-law Todd, who works at the family business, and like just it, and then it
Yeah.
turns into basically a work trip for him.
Yeah, and I could see like this movie like having Adam Sandler as like the son-in-law and
Oh yeah.
like let me cast this in my mind.
Hold on, Adam Sandler's son-in-law. Who's Paul Blart?
Kevin James.
Kevin James as like the dad, so the OP.
Yeah. And then I
Uh,
could see like who would be the wife? Who would be Jane? I could feel like that would be like Jennifer Aniston or Drew Barrymore.
I wanted to say Christian Bell
Oh, wait, yes, 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 yes.
because like not to be mean, Kristen Bell can play a character that's like
Uh,
snobby and entitled.
yeah.
Like she's like I feel like there's been once or twice where I've seen a character like that. Oh, who was she in Forgetting Sarah Marshall? I think she was Sarah Marshall. So there. And also burlesque. I remember she was like this entitled dancer. Like she thought she was the
Yeah.
center of the universe. Well, who's the wife then? Who's Kevin James's wife?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Hmm.
See, I thought like the OP would be someone like older than Kevin James though, because they're celebrating 40 years.
You can put some gray dye in his hair. You can age him up
Eh.
pretty quickly. I still find it so funny how he so quickly was like, we're going on a different flight and we're going to a different place. Like that's impressive to
Yeah.
be able to change that quickly and not have your partner find out.
And who knows like about how many fees he faced?
Mm-hmm.
Because changing flights is not cheap at
Hey,
all.
would you rather turn your anniversary vacation into a babysitting adventure
Mm-mm.
or spend a little bit extra money to have your proper anniversary?
Extra money all the
Exactly.
way.
Exactly. Like there's no denying that's the better option and they chose the right thing.
Yeah.
All right. I think one more should be
Yeah.
enough for the night. And what do we
On
have?
on the same level of grandchildren.
Oh, okay.
Am I the asshole for ending my vacation early and rushing? Oh, am I the asshole for not ending my vacation early and rushing home for the birth of our grandchild?
If it's the same as the last one, I already know it's going to be a big no.
Yeah.
And like so okay. So my other thought is grandchild. So this guy I wanted to say is in his 50s to 60s. So he's, enjoying life as much as he can before he's too old to travel. Nah. I feel like it's deserved to go on vacation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Was the rating on this one, but let me get
Oh,
into
why
it
did you spoil it?
because you already guessed.
Oh,
I was looking to like. Sorry.
it's
Okay.
all. Nah, it's
Anyways,
okay. It's whatever. It's
let me
whatever.
read it. Let me read
All
it.
right, all right, all right.
I, 52 male, and my wife are on a 2-week vacation in Cancun, Mexico. We're from the US and planned all year for this trip and saved up
Mm,
money to be able to go on this trip. Edit. We booked and paid before my daughter was pregnant. It was our
okay.
6th day there when our daughter, 26, boyfriend called us saying that she was giving birth and we had to get on the next plane ride home.
Oh
We were
shit.
aware my yeah, we were aware my daughter was soon to pop, but her due date wasn't until the end of this month. Mind you, these events took place in the beginning of this month. We
Oh,
told
so
him that,
this would have been weeks early.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that not like almost dangerous in some situations?
sometimes, yeah, it can
Yikes.
be. We told him that was impossible and just to follow their birthing plan and to keep us updated. A few hours later, we got a call from my daughter updating us and asking us when we'd be on our way back and that she really wanted us to be here and that it was taking longer than expected. She was scared, etc. She's a first time mom, so it was expected for her to be scared. My wife and I assured her that everything would be fine, but were unable to just pack up and go. She got upset and hung up on me. Hours later in the middle of the night, we missed a call due to us sleeping, and it was her boyfriend saying that there were complications and they were performing emergency C-section. The next
Whoa.
morning, we called immediately, and our daughter told us she was scared and things could have went bad, and our Cancun trip was more important to us than her. Then hung up. We tried to call back, but she wouldn't answer. The baby was born healthy and our daughter is okay. We've only seen pics of our grandkid through Facebook because our daughter hasn't let us see her and has barely spoken to us since we've been back home. We had planned there to be for our grandchild's birth, but we couldn't leave 6 days into a trip we spent a large amount of money on. Even if we did, we wouldn't make it back on time. Even if we did make it back, we couldn't do anything. The doctors couldn't in the situation. I feel as though being our daughter is too harsh on us. We've apologized many times.
Jeez. See, okay, the first thing I wanted to do was find out how long would a flight be from from Cancun to some general part of the US because I can't find like an exact time.
I know from, well, actually, no, I don't. I know other places in Mexico, if you're coming from the West Coast, it can be about like 2 to 4 hour plane ride. Like it's not very long.
Hmm. Isn't there, if I'm correct, isn't there a wind that goes from the west to the east?
Mm.
Or is that like the rotation? I don't know. I just remember when I flew from Toronto to California,
Yeah.
I think the flight home was quicker and the flight to California was longer
Yeah.
because we were going against something. I
Yeah.
think I think there was a wind.
You know, it's funny because at work people ask me about that all the time because I book flights and I'm just like, "Ah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's kind of funny
Hmm.
that it's like, oh, it's like a 12 ride hour plane there and then like on the way back it's like a 10 hour. I'm like, I don't know why that is. So
Yeah,
sorry.
it's interesting to see. Okay, but
Yeah.
for this, I feel like, but there's also like the concern of like, well, what if on the flight they she gave birth, so then you
Yeah.
would have been flying up for almost nothing. Like you would have, like, yes, you would have seen your grandchild sooner than if you stayed on the trip, but the main purpose of flying was to be there for the delivery.
Yeah. And like I understand where they're coming from because these trips are very expensive
Mm-hmm.
and like flights are not cheap, like hotels are not cheap.
Mm-mm.
Um, and especially like what they said at the very end, we couldn't do anything the doctors couldn't do in that situation. Is
Nope.
it unfortunate that there were complications and she had to have a C-section? Yes, but it's like you can't predict that unless like
No.
the OBGYN knows ahead of time, like, hey, you're going to be more at risk, then sure, that's something that can be predicted. But I feel like
Yeah.
that's why people buy trip insurance. And I
Yeah.
feel like these people did not buy trip insurance. And that's where they're like, oh my God, our money. And like,
Well, yeah, if they started the post by saying we saved up money to go on this trip, it sounds like trips for them aren't as frequent as some other people, so they really
yeah,
are emphasizing like this is the one of the few times that we'll be able to go on vacation.
yeah,
And yeah, you said 52 male?
yeah, 52 male.
Yeah. So like I feel like, you know, I don't know, but I feel like after 60 it's kind of like do you want to go on vacation or is it just going to hurt cuz you're just
Yeah,
old?
yeah,
So like he knows like, I might do one or two more trips in my life and then I'm going to just take it easy.
yeah. I don't know. It's like crazy. Like, a birth you can't really predict. Like
Nope.
this, like a few weeks early, like that was unpredictable. But I remember when I was working, some guy called in and he had to reschedule because his daughter was getting married.
Oh
And they
wow.
finally like set the date and it happened to be during his trip. Yeah,
Oh.
so we had to move things around for him. And he was like fully aware. He was like, oh, like I know like might be an additional charge or whatever, but I really want to be there like for the wedding.
Well, in that situation, how far apart was when you were booking and then when the wedding is? Like, was it like 3 months away or was this like 10 months away?
I want to say this is probably about 10. I want to say like
Yeah.
this was a call I had like in January or something. And I think this person was getting married in like the fall. So it was
Okay.
still like not a year, but definitely farther
Yeah.
out.
I know for weddings you have to plan this so far out and you have to send out those
Yeah.
invites like as early as possible because you're like tell everyone if you
You're
want to
coming.
be here don't have plans this weekend. If you have plans this weekend, change them.
Change them.
I want to
But
say though, not the asshole. And you even
yeah,
said not the asshole.
I was just gonna say, not the asshole. Like, is it unfortunate that she's not talking to them now? Yeah. I mean, that could definitely suck. And like, I'm not too sure if they mentioned like it's their firstborn or what,
Hmm.
but like, you know, that I feel like that could probably sting like, oh man, I can't see like my first grandchild
Hmm.
if that's the case. But like, they could not plan that she was going to give birth a few weeks early. Like,
No.
they couldn't plan any of this. You know what I mean? Like, they done this planning and trip purchasing before they even knew she was pregnant.
Yeah. They did it far in advance. So then that's another thing. He would have had his trip booked 9 months earlier, like
Yeah.
at least 9 months earlier than when they went on vacation.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm gonna read the
Shoot.
top comment here, as well
Okay.
as some of the replies, because I kind of like this.
Okay.
Not the asshole, you can't just rush home from another country, and if you had, same-day tickets would have been astronomical. I take it your daughter is mad, but it was a no-win situation. You planned the trip way ahead. You cannot just rush home because traveling from another country doesn't work that way.
Mm-mm.
Also, there are still COVID procedures in place, so chances are the nurses would have sent you home.
COVID procedures. How old is this post?
This was posted 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. So between 22 and 23. Yeah,
Uh,
I think that was like the tail end of COVID.
Yeah, taking a look at this comment, hovering over it, where it says 2 years, it says Thursday, February 23rd, 2023.
Yeah.
So it just hit 3 years of COVID.
Yeah.
But one of the comments responding to another comment underneath it
Yeah.
said, someone pointed out there's a 2 hour and 45-minute flight from Cancun to Atlanta. So by my travel experiences, that means a minimum of 8 hours to get back because you have to show up to the airport,
Yep.
like you'll have to go through customs. Like
Oh, I
it's
didn't even
not,
think about that part. Yeah. And then how
yeah,
far is the airport that they would land at to
hospital.
the hospital? Yeah.
Hmm.
And then you factor that in and you factor in getting their bag, so it's just like it adds up so much quicker than you realize.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel bad for OP.
Yeah. What's with our generation being assholes to grandparents like our like
I
the
don't
older
know.
older generation. Damn.
I know, it's crazy. This one comment though, I agree. Like this is kind of weird. I'm confused. Do people normally expect the grandparents to be there to witness their grandchild's birth? Personally, I've never heard or experienced this around me. Weird. I wouldn't even expect my dad to be there and I love him to death. I think this person's like under the impression of like them being in the actual delivery room.
That's what I'm under the impression of too.
Yeah. It's like, okay, like I don't want everyone like looking like while I'm
Yeah.
giving birth. Like
Well,
uh
I want to say I think the most important thing in that situation would be your family were some of the first people to see
baby.
your son, yeah, or daughter,
Yeah.
like as soon as possible, just because like it's kind of that kind of thing where like when you get a new job, the first people you tell is your partner, your parents, your and then your extended family.
Yeah.
Same thing for like a kid. You want to tell, you want your parents to see, you want your grandparents to see, you want, your sister to see, your brother to see, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like yeah, the daughter and the son-in-law would have been like pretty frazzled that suddenly, oh, it's happening way sooner than we expected.
Exactly.
But I feel like the son-in-law should have tried to stay level-headed and been like, if they can't come, we'll ask them to come as soon as possible to the house so that they can at least see their new grandchild like
Yeah.
ASAP.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And like I don't know, I feel like that would actually just stress the mom even more, like if they were able to come and like we're in the delivery room.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I feel like keep that for like OP's boyfriend
Hmm.
and like her and then like have everyone there at the hospital after to meet the baby.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, that one was crazy. We had some like crazy ones.
Hmm. It just again, it's I feel like it's that entitlement,
Yeah.
like that kind of stuff that grinds my gears the most. Or
Yeah.
like I'm surprised there's no post that we found that was I don't know. You've definitely seen it where like some families they just immediately start hitting each other on a vacation. Like
Yeah.
there's something about being on vacation that just makes you more on edge.
Yeah.
Like I was expecting something like that to show up at least once, but nah.
Yeah.
I guess people don't really talk about that. They're just angry and then they let it go when they get home.
Yeah, I guess.
Hmm.
I found this comment. Sorry, not to bring this back up again, but I
Go
just
for
like
it. Go
saw this
for it.
comment and I was like, wow. So I did scroll down a little bit and
Hmm.
someone did say that OP was the asshole for missing the call at night when you knew that she was in labor.
What?
I'm not gonna like wake up. Like
Some people are very heavy sleepers and they won't even hear the phone ring.
me, literally me. Like you called me this morning on FaceTime and I was like asleep, but like I heard it and in like my watch, I was wearing my watch and like it
Hmm.
was like buzzing and I was
Hmm.
just like Oh, like I think this is part of my dream.
No, that's an issue with me
So
as
like,
well. Sometimes I'll just register it as like a phantom or a phantom call. That's what I say.
yeah.
I just tell myself like it's not real. But if it persists a second time, I'm like, no, that's someone double calling me. I have to open my eyes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I gotta wake up.
Hmm. I think that's all the stories we got for today, though.
Yeah.
We're a little bit under an hour, but hey, there's nothing wrong with being a little shorter some days.
I feel like we had some quality ones today.
Exactly. We got good ones. Next week, I don't think we know what we want to talk about yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
We got to start brainstorming some stuff. And then there will be a break. Lyn and I have conflicting plans with the schedule, so
Yeah.
stay tuned. But as always, thank you for watching another episode of the TJH podcast. We hope you all
Stay wild.